that house is still standing. Now, PCRI filed a 30-day no-cause eviction against an express statutory prohibition. It wasn't legal for them to take that 30-day no-cause to court because my rent was paid, and you can't file the 30-day no-cause when the rent was paid. That's ORS 105.120. My Supreme Court case, Stoll versus Hope, defines the act of filing a case. How much work could I possibly do? Go to the Supreme Court? Find out what the landlord's not allowed to do? What's the landlord destroy 20 grand of my property in 2006? Last week, I applied for a claim for $4,775, which was what PCRI cut me a check for in 2010. What about the $250,000 under the Landlord-Tenant Act that I had coming? You folks have done nothing but cause this problem. Maybe you should go to the auto parts store where they say, poor planning on your part does not make it an emergency on our part. Now, none of you has the backbone to go out here and get on the number 6 bus and go up to Mason Street on MLK and go 1 block and see that 5-plex that's been vacant for over $100,000 of affordable housing rent. You can't find landlords to take your Section 8 vouchers. How about the landlord you're partnering with? Right now, the landlord that you're funding, right now with your Portland Development Commission, the one that has an executive director, reserved parking space, and cares more about that than, as you do, than getting people into the affordable housing stock that we currently have. You have no emergency, you have no backbone. That's your emergency.
Thank you. Welcome. Good afternoon.
My name is Edith Sadunich. In the last half a year or so, me and my partner both faced no-cause evictions. Neither of us had ever been evicted before. I just find that interesting that we both went through that around the same time. And for him, it was because the apartment was being sold to someone else, the whole property. And then for me, it was because the real estate was selling it, the house that I was in, to someone else. And we were both just renting rooms. That's all we could afford. We're both pretty educated. I have a master's degree in liberal studies from college. I work as a freelance editor, and I try to supplement that with the various temp jobs I'm able to find, which are often very menial and really, I think, beneath what I could do to fulfill myself in the community. And it's just not enough really to make ends meet, and this was a huge hardship to have to move. But to add to that, when you're living as a roommate in a place, there's often extra burden. So when I moved in, I was told I was signing a 1-year lease, and then I signed a lease, and then my roommate got a form and didn't tell me about it and signed us on as month to month, like around that time. And then I was really shocked when we got the no-cause eviction. And then this house we lived there longer decided that she was going to move out a month earlier, and we actually got that thing in the mail a few days late. So I really had about 3 weeks to try to find a different place to live. And I was forced into kind of a dangerous area in Northeast Portland where I felt unsafe getting in and out. Yeah, so that was my time. I just wanted to give an idea of what some other people are going through here in town. People who rent rooms.
Thank you.
I also haven't got my deposit back.
Thank you very much.
Mayor, can I just make one comment? Under the First, not about you, ma'am, sorry.
Okay.
Under the First Amendment, we welcome people to come before us and have their say. And it is our tradition to respectfully engage and listen to people. And if they say something we disagree with, we still give them the privilege of speaking. But we do have an individual comes before us on a regular basis making outrageous claims about a nonprofit partner in the city, which just so happens to be a nonprofit partner that serves a historically African-American community in our Northeast, and that has been in the front lines of dealing with gentrification, displacement, and other issues. And I hope that no one who is watching this or in the audience takes our tradition of allowing someone to exercise a First Amendment right as being somehow a tacit support or acknowledgement of some of the underlying claims. And at least one person who regrettably in his comments makes outrageous claims, which in any other setting would be called defamatory. But in this forum, he is given the privilege of speaking. I just want people to understand that when we receive that information, this council is not ratifying or supporting his view. We're just giving him the privilege of stating his view.
Thank you. Next, please.
Michael Colvin, Autumn Arms, and Thomas Edward Mullen. Thomas Edwin Mullen, sorry.
One of those three, let's call some more.
Mr. Mullen is here. And next we'll go with Katrina Holland. Here, Katrina.
Yes, she is. Okay, welcome. Good afternoon. Go ahead, if you'd like.
Hi, I'm Autumn Arms, and I just want to briefly state, some people have kind of said what I was going to say, but I'm on social security disability, I have an aneurysm in my heart, and I have a team of cardiologists and surgeons, at my beck and call at Emmanuel. And recently, I had to move into an apartment in my home that was sold. And in the year that I've lived there, the rent has gone from $895 to $1,295. And right now I'm safe because I have a lease. I have a Section 8 voucher and I have a lease. But at the end of the year, I don't know what's going
It
to
just
happen.
does that. Keep going.
Okay, what's going to happen to me because I really need to stay in Portland for my medical issues and there's no place. Section 8 allows, in my zip code, 1,050 for a 2-bedroom, and if they're going up to 1,295, so they're going way above the allowance. That can leave me in a very unsafe position. And as you've heard many times, the waiting list for affordable housing is too long. Plus my income, like that one woman stated, if you need a co-signer, my income's not going to get me into the affordable housing. So although all these amendments are out there, they're great, the 90 days, I agree with all of that. We really need to start looking at some kind of rent control. They're raising it 40%. That's just too much. That's too much for anybody here to handle, even people who are coming in who are educated, good jobs. So that's all I have to say.
And ma'am, just so we're clear, under state law, we are not even allowed to have the discussion about rent control, whether it's a good idea or bad idea, the right solution or not. Just understand that under state law, the city of Portland cannot even entertain that subject. So, just so you know.
Okay.
Thank you very much. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. Good to see you all. Thank you for the opportunity.
What's your name, Director? Katrina?
Yeah, that's right. My name is Katrina Holland. I'm Deputy Director at Community Alliance of Tenants. And I am here today to speak specifically for the anonymous tenants who did not feel comfortable sharing their stories because of the vulnerability that imposes when potentially with the consequence of either losing their home and or impeding on their ability to look for housing. So really quickly, I just wanted to show for everybody in here, within the last 2 months, these are the number of hotline calls that we have received of people who have received rent hikes that they can't afford and or no-cause evictions. This is just in 2 months. It really is an emergency and something needs to happen. I personally agree with 120 days, but hopefully you will make that amendment. So I'm just going to start reading. Tenant number 1, 15 to 20 minutes after repair of hot water not working for a month, I received a no-cause eviction. Tenant number 2, my rent has gone up 3 times in 18 months, 5% each time. Tenant number 3, I moved in on the 6th of July. On the 31st of July, I received an envelope in the mail, a no-cause termination to our rental agreement. Tenant number 4, I was paying $810 per month, and I was told today that my rent as of October 10th will be increased to $1,650. I am displaced. Tenant number 5, I cannot afford medications, food, and necessities. Tenant number 6, my working teens are nevertheless concerned that the household rent cannot afford them the time off work to attend schools. Tenant number 7, I haven't left because I can only afford to pay my rent. I can't save up for deposits or moving costs. Tenant number 8, my rent is now so high that I'm having to make cuts to my food budget. Tenant number 9, I received a letter from our property manager stating that we had 90 days to vacate our apartment. Everyone in the 18-unit complex got a similar notice. Tenant number 10, we have always paid our rent on time and never caused trouble. Because they evicted us, our children have to move schools. Tenant number 12, my rent has gone up 15% this year. If I had a car, I would be living in it, despite the fact that I work 2 jobs, often 6 days a week. Tenant number 13, let's not forget the financial stress of displacement. I was billed $2,200 for cleaning and repairs. We received a 60-day no-cause eviction because the property was being sold. Tenant number...
Get you to wrap up in a minute.
Sure, this is the last one. Tenant number 15. I've been there for 8 years. My landlord says loyalty means nothing. This is stressing me out, and I feel like I'm a no-cause eviction waiting to happen. They don't care if they have a new tenant every month, as long as they get higher rent. Please pass this ordinance at 120 days.
Thank you very much. Welcome, sir.
Yes, my name is Thomas Small, and I came here several times over the last 20 years to address the homelessness in the north and northeast. And at that time, I came here to city council back in 1986, I believe. And before they gave me some property over on Beach Street that we would have turned into a homeless shelter. As they said, the homelessness in the black has raised 44% this year alone, because now they're quit couch surfing and fighting amongst themselves. They're starting to come out and let the city know that there has been homelessness. Now they want the city to address their homelessness, because they see the city is really taking their land from their mothers and their fathers, their uncles and everything. So therefore they can't hide couch searching anymore, because everybody's losing their couches anyhow. And so therefore, we need to address this problem. We need to take it to our superiors, and that right now is Mr. Barack Obama is our president, and also this problem also go all the way to Rome, our Pope, because it is involved with the churches versus state. And I brought 23 pages that I would like for you to fact to them and let them know as the superiors to address this problem. And it is quoted within our statute of the state: if you turn your flag upside down, or if someone taking your land, or you believe that you're in bodily harm, that the president must send in the federal government. And I am doing this right now. I want everyone in the state of Oregon to join me in this cause until we do get Mr. Obama here to address this problem. The problem is United States wide. He's already put it on a national level crisis. So therefore, we must address it and bring it to him where he can do where your office stopped, where he can take over. So please make sure that Mr. Obama and Pope Francis get these papers, and where we can take the discussion on further at the proper time.
Thank you very much. So,
And I will be leaving these papers with your
yeah,
vote.
just leave that with Carl. Thank you so much. So I think because we may be losing a quorum in a little bit, we ought to go ahead and proceed to take a vote on the declaration of emergency. I know. Hang on a second. On the declaration. Hang on. I'm going to give you a chance on the declaration of emergency, and then I think we may have to carry some testimony on the renter protection issues over until next week, if we're not actually going to vote on that until next week. So if there are folks that are still here who want to speak on the declaration of emergency itself, come on up. And let's take that testimony and then give the council a chance to act on the declaration. And then again, we'll go back to the renter protection issues for the remaining time that we have a quorum today and next week as well. So, good afternoon.
Good afternoon. My name is Robert Jackson. I'm a Quinault Indian. I chaired Quinault Housing Authority since 1970, when we first got Indian housing. Housing started in 1938. Indian housing didn't start until the 70s. So I have a little experience. The first thing is that you're dealing with is in California 20 years ago, they adopted an unlawful detainer for mentally ill people. That means that if you're in a transitional housing, a shelter, any type of facility, you fall under the jurisdiction of a judge. When I was in Yakima visiting a year ago, the Junior League sponsored a conference to talk about criminal justice.